Oh, here we go with this filter again. Oh my goodness. What's going on, everybody? Give me a second because I have this weird filter on and it's weird. Oh my goodness. Hot mess express up in here. What's going on, everybody? Marina Simone here. Let me get the lighting right. That one will work. So great to be on with you guys. Just waiting for Sarah to jump on. We have an awesome interview scheduled, game of networking. Oh, there you are. Okay, hold on. Let me get you on. Your live viewers, Sarah. Bring Sarah. Love this dual broadcast thing. Yay! It worked. You never know what's going to happen. You never know with Facebook what's going to go on. But how come I can see all that? I don't want to see that. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound awesome.
Oh, good. So do you. Perfect. So let me give you a little intro. And so glad I'm able to be on. This migraine was starting to come back. And I was like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. We are doing this interview today. But you guys, first off, as you're jumping on, as always, let us know where you're coming in from. This group, I mean, I know you stalk this page like I do, Sarah. I'm obsessed with it. Rob has just seriously put together like one of the best Facebook groups in this industry. I know you can totally just like high five on that one. But you guys, I want to know if you've been in the industry for 2 years or less in the network marketing industry. I want you to drop a 2 in the comments below. Because I feel like there's a lot of newbies that are in this group and they're always searching for great information. And I got to tell you guys, this Facebook Live with information about duplication is going to be huge for you, because it's not just about recruiting and rebuilding all the time. It's about creating duplication. And Sarah and her husband, Tony, have been in the industry for 15 plus years, right, Sarah? For 15 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys have built, I mean, I want you to tell everybody, but like when I was reading your bio, I'm like, I am still such a baby in this industry. You guys are studs. And I've had the honor, like I get to work with these 2 studs, just so you guys know. So I'm so grateful. But you're a mom, you're married, you sit on the field advisory board, you have 100 6- and 7-figure earners in your downline. So obviously you know what's going on. But can you share more about your background, a little bit more for these people to get to know your heart like I know you? And I think I'm just excited to be able to interview you tonight. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have to give a shout out to all the boss babes, because I mean, this is an awesome interview that we're going to get to do together. And for all the women in the house, I give you a high five and a shout out. And all of you single moms and just girls just making it happen, and just working moms and grandmas, like everybody, right? I mean, I just applaud you for number one, being in this group. And just to echo a little bit of what you talked about, Rob, I know you're watching right now. We're so grateful that you created this group. It's just so awesome, because every day I see this pop up in my news feed, and there's so many great golden nuggets that I get for myself. Even if it's stuff that I've already learned, it's so many like great reminders on, oh man, Sarah, don't forget that. Like that is such good stuff. So, so thank you, Rob, for putting this together. And, you know, my story is I am not, you know, it's funny because as I watch a lot of these, you know, different stories throughout news feeds on Facebook, and, you know, all these great success stories, and even unbelievable success stories here in this group, guys, I kind of giggle because I'm like, dude, I was not one of those people. You know, I was 21 years old when I got introduced to the business. I had no business being in business. I was a nanny, right, which is basically as a glorified babysitter. And I fell in love with the profession. But I will tell you that gosh, my first 5 years in the business, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I had a ton of fun, but I made no money. I tell people, I'm like, my God, it was like the biggest party ever, but I made $0. And there was just a lot of things that I had to learn that I didn't bring to the table. And a lot of people, when they get involved in this business, they have natural talents that they bring. And there was a lot of things that I didn't bring. And so for a long time, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't figure out this business. And I think for all of us, we have to understand that we all had to put our dues in the business, just like anything else, right? We all have to just kind of like take our time and just understand that sometimes it's a little bit more of a process. And, you know, I don't know if it's more girls than guys, but I think a lot of times girls are really hard on themselves as far as the comparison mode. And, you know, I really struggle with self-sabotage for a long time. And I would take, you know, literally one step forward and two steps back. And I would, you know, do a lot of self-comparing, you know, what's wrong with me? Why are these guys walking across the stage? Like, I feel like I'm good enough, like, but how come I'm not there? And it was just a lot of stuff that I just had to work on me. And I had to learn how to be grateful in the moment and be present in the moment. And the things that I was going through, you know, I just really learned early on how to look at them and go, so what can I learn from this right now at this very second? You know, like, what can I learn from this that can help me get better? But I also learned how to give myself a little bit of slack, meaning my mantra really is like, am I better today than I was yesterday? And if the answer was yes, then I had to give myself some slack, you know, and just say, hey, it's okay. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that, where they're, you know, they see these people with these, you know, enormous groups or these great stories or these unbelievable Facebook lives. And we're like, oh my God, I could never be like that. But, you know, understand that they all have backstories too. You know, I mean, my backstory, my first 5 years, I mean, I made no money. I mean, I had told you earlier that, I mean, it took me 2 years, guys, 2 years to bring one person in the business.
Wait, okay, say that again.
Say that again. 2 years.
That's powerful. So it took you 2 years to recruit one person into the business.
Yes.
Wow.
So for those of you that are watching, I am here to tell you, like, there's crazy hope for you.
Yeah.
You know, but I just had, I'll tell you what happened. I mean, my personality is I'm a pretty assertive, pretty aggressive person. So when it's a female, that's a little bit rough. And, you know, I had to learn really how to kind of like, I don't know, I guess I was kind of a diamond in the rough, right? I had to learn how to smooth out my edges. I had to really learn how to just kind of be a little bit more of a buffer with building relationships. And I will tell you, one of the things that I feel like I really struggle with is all of my mentors early on in my business were men. And not that men aren't amazing. I'm married to an amazing man. But here's what happened is I took on those traits. And so because of that, I wasn't a good recruiter because I was authentically trying to build a little bit more masculine and not stepping into my femininity and saying, hey, this is good enough. And once I figured that out, I was like, oh my God, like I can actually step into my authentic self, and it's okay, right, to be me. And from there, I literally had a breakthrough, you know what I mean? And I never looked back. And that was probably my biggest defining moment, is that piece of it, you know? So I love this group because there's a lot of women in here too. You know, I love that it's a really balanced group, which I think is super important, to get both perspectives all the time.
I mean, you just said so many things that I can relate to. I mean, when you said it took you 2 years to recruit one person, I know there's so many women and men that are in here right now thinking that they're never going to have success because maybe they're not where they should be after 2 years. And we all have our own journey. But when you said being grateful in the moment, that is huge, because I think we tend to, you know, as network marketers, what we do, we look in the future, we set goals, we're planning the next rank, we're planning the next vacation, the next check we're going to get. But sometimes we can lose sight of what we have. And we need to be grateful for what we have before we can be blessed with more. So that was just, that hit home for me and that hit my heart. So I'm so grateful for that.
Yay!
So, I mean, you're a rock star. We already know this on stage. But okay, so here's my question. So 15 years, you've built a team of 100 plus 6- and 7-figure earners. Obviously, duplication is something that I feel like is maybe not talked about enough in our industry, because we're also focused on recruiting from social media, recruiting, but then we can kind of overlook identifying leaders and even just getting started. So what are some of the things that you feel like has helped you get to this massive business and organization that you have with duplication? Which I know that's a loaded question, FYI.
No, it's not. It's actually a great question because I love that I've grown so much in this business for the last 15 years that like the stuff that I can talk about now, I probably wouldn't have talked about then. But you know, I think for us, and I say us because my husband, we're kind of one and the same, right? I think for us, the ability to be able to put our ego in our back pocket and let people shine is a big thing in duplication. A lot of people that have a hard time with duplication is that they suffocate their people, and they don't go out there and try to find, you know what I mean? They don't look at people, what they're doing and their strengths and magnify them and let them go and let them shine and like not be worried about taking all the credit. I see too many people in the profession. They're always needing to do that. It's always like, you know, just all this self stuff, right? It's all about them and this, you know, self, like, I mean, I see it a lot. Obviously, I see it a lot on social media too, right? It's that whole thing about self. And I'm with Tony and I, like, for us, we would much rather be under the radar and let people shine. And you can see the people that have massive teams. I mean, there's so many incredible leaders that are in this group that are very much the same, is because they have that same philosophy. So I think it's, you know, that piece, but also I think a big piece of duplication is helping manage people's expectations from the get-go. I think so many people don't do that with brand new people, and we need to do that. I always tell people you've got to slow people down to speed them up, right? So to do that, you've got to be able to go back like early on in the beginning when they get started and help them walk through a little bit of the ebbs and flows. I mean, not saying to be negative Nilly, but also to let them know, hey, this is going to be hard work. And early on, like, you know what I mean? You're going to have to learn some skills, and it's going to suck for a while, and you're going to be like, what the heck is going on? But if you're going to get great at anything, you're going to be bad at it for a while. And once you can be okay with that, you got it, you know, and helping them understand that there's just a few fundamentals of this business. And once they got that, they've got it. And I think it's so much important. And I also let people know too, like, I really like to teach our teams about managing expectations and sitting down with that brand new person and say, hey, so listen, when you have a hiccup in your business, when you feel like you're going to quit, when you feel like I have to walk you off the cliff, like, how do you want me to handle it?
Oh, I like that.
How do you want me to handle you? Right? What do you want to do? Right? So I give it to them because they tell me. I don't want to just go tell them what they need to do. Right? And so I'm like, hey, how do you want me to handle it when this happens? And I love that because I know how to effectively work with that person because I've asked them, right? I don't just assume. I've asked them, how do you want me, you know, to work with you when that happens? And so I see just so many people, like, the duplication falls off because they don't manage people's expectations. So what I love is that with a lot of the personal people that we work with, when they do go through those situations, guess what? It's like they don't even flinch. Because they remember, oh yeah, you know what? Sarah told me this might happen. Hey, Sarah told me like I might go the situation or whatever it may be, right? So it's like if they know, then they're cool with it. It's when they're caught off guard with this stuff that they all of a sudden go, I quit, or they go into the witness protection program, or you're like, what the heck happened to that person? It's because we didn't properly set those expectations. And I think that's a big missing piece with duplication that's not talked about enough. I don't know if people are afraid not to tell people the real deal, which is it's work. Yeah. I mean? So it's like they want to sell them the dream, but they don't tell them about the work piece, you know, or the pieces that happens with just being an entrepreneur in itself.
I think that's so important. How many of you on here right now can totally relate to that? Drop me a high heel in the comments. You know how I love my high heels. Drop me a high heel. And it's true because I think too, like, we get excited when we're going to enroll that one person, right? So we don't, we want everything to be perfect. We're so afraid of like them thinking it's going to be too much work or getting that first no. It's like we're creating anxiety for them, for ourselves, and then we're instilling the wrong expectations. And at the end of the day, if we want people to not jump from company to company or jump from team to team, or if we want people to stay, we have to be authentic. We have to be real. We have to let people make their own decisions of whether they want to stay or not, if this is the sacrifice they want to make, and you'll keep people longer that way. So,
well,
so
and you know what too, it's kind of like, you know, what Eric Worre talks about. He talks about how, you know, he was one of my very first mentors, right? And I've learned so much from being under his wing for over a decade. And he talks about how, you know, the first year in the business, your goal is to really become proficient, right? It's not to be this amazing rock star, right? It's to go from like being proficient to good to great to like learn, like really becoming a professional, right, in the business. And, you know, helping people even understand that piece, right, is so important. And, you know, Tony and I, you know, when we enroll people in the business, I mean, we want them to get in and work the deal for a long time, you know? So when we sit down with them, I mean, one of the things that we do let them know when we talk about managing expectations is we're like, hey, here's the deal. Like, your first year in the business, you just need to put your head down and like, we're going to help you develop these skills, but that's it. Like, you cannot complain to us. You can't bitch. You can't moan. You can't do any of that. You can't criticize. You can't do any of that for a year. All you got to do is you got to put your head down, and we're going to help you learn the skills. And after a year, then you can look up. Yeah. And then we can, you know what I mean? Then we can like measure where you're at, go back to it, you know, figure it all out. You know, if we have to, you know, go back and, you know, obviously be tracking your business and so forth, and maybe realigning your goals or reassessing things, great, we'll do that. But I think too many people, like the first, you know, if you set the tone for your people, they're good. But if you don't set the tone, it's our fault. Yeah. Right? It's our fault. Yeah. And so we like to make sure that we set that tone, because I think it just, number one, it makes them go, you know what? I gotta really give this a shot. Versus, hey, let's try this out for 90 days, and if not, I'll go do another deal.
I know, it drives me nuts. It's like 90 days, really? Like you have to put the effort in. I mean, the same with me. Like, I didn't make money for 2.5 years in my first business, for 2.5 years. And it's funny because looking back now, like, it stressed me out, but I learned so
Oh my gosh. Me too.
I mean, it just wasn't my time. Like, that's how, like, I can, obviously then it didn't look like that to me, but now I can look at it that way. But we have to learn, we have to get better, we have to grow as humans, and the expectations is so important. So important. Yeah. So do you feel like do you feel like that's probably like one of the main reasons people feel like they're consistently and constantly rebuilding? Yes, like, because they're so focused on maybe like, let's go recruit 100 people, but then they don't get those 100 people started right. They don't set those expectations right with those people. For sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I definitely have a lot of people who are like, well, I'm a great recruiter. And I'm like, well, you can be a great recruiter, but that doesn't mean anything. It's like, I'm a great salesperson. So what? You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, I tell people, it's not your job to make someone become successful, but it is your job to make sure they get started right. That's your job, you know? So, you know, I do believe in like recruiting in bunches, right? And because I tell that's where you create that buzz, a story. People love that. Recruit in bunches? Is that what you said? Recruit in bunches? Yeah, recruit in bunches, right? It's easier to recruit in bunches. It's the buzz, it's the energy, right? Versus like the onesie twosies. It doesn't create that, you know, that, I wouldn't say momentum, but that just that energy, right? To really get things going. And so, so I think, you know, that's an important piece is go, you know, after you do your like kind of, Tony and I kind of call them like our mini bursts, right? So to speak. So it's like, we have this like little, not even so much a 90-day run. It might even just be like a 30-day little mini burst of people that we bring in. Then we go back, you know, I guess if you want to say nurture them, right? In a sense, Tony's not really, he nurtures kind of, you know, he's a guy. He kind of nurtures. His version of nurture. He has his idea of nurturing. I'm like, ooh, okay. Yeah. But, you know, nurture them, work with them, what have you, you know, help them get going and that sort of thing. But I do believe too, though, a piece of duplication that people miss out on is they don't learn how to get out of the way fast enough. You know, I think especially if you're a type A person, you know, like I didn't have a hard time building a business to like 50 people, 100 people, but like I couldn't get it past that for a long time. Yeah. And I was in my own way. You know what I mean? I was like the Wonder Woman thinking it was great that,
I was the it girl, meaning I could answer. I was the one that, like, if you had a question, Sarah could answer it. I could answer all of it. I could do it all. Which, you know, it makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't do anything for your team.
No,
right?
nothing. I've been there.
It's like,
I've been there.
Yeah. It's like, I bought the t-shirt with the S on it, right?
Uh-huh.
And it didn't mean Sarah. It was like Superwoman. So, you know, so I think, you know, the faster I learned how to get out of the way, you know, I think that really helped us a lot. And obviously we all talk about third party. I think that's part of it too, is that people don't utilize third-party tools enough, right? Because they make it so much about themselves that I think too, duplication, people feel like, well, if so-and-so isn't here to help me, or if so-and-so can't do this call, or if so-and-so can't do this, well, then I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, you know, obviously we just build our business online, but back in the day when we would have home events or parties or whatever, and people would, you know, I would go to someone's house and I could get all those guys signed up, but then I would go back and they would do nothing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out. And it was because it was all about me.
Yeah.
Right? I wasn't utilizing the third party, right? I wasn't teaching them, you know, how to step into their own and utilize those things. So, you know, so I think that, you know, every company out there, you know, there's a lot of great third party tools that companies use, etc. Obviously a lot through social media as well. Like, you need to be using those like crazy. I mean, I still, every day, I know you do too, I use that constantly. And I think, you know, that's a big piece of speeding up duplication for a lot of people. You know, it's a huge piece.
It's such a huge piece. It's so funny because I used to make myself the issue too. I can close everybody on the biggest pack. I used to tell my team in my first company.
Yeah, no, I used to tell people, hey, listen, just put them in front of me. I can close them.
I'll close them for you.
That's so arrogant. I mean, God, who thinks like that? It's so sad.
Because we didn't know.
Anyways, yeah.
I
forgive us.
Yeah, I forgive us too. Because it was all about, if I can get the biggest pack closed, but we're one person. So it took me a minute to like understand, I'd rather have 100 people come in at the lowest pack than have 10 come in at the biggest and make myself the issue. Because then when you have a team of 20,000, you can't, what are you going to do? So it's the duplication that's so important. And then it was like, I don't want to be the tool. The company has the tools. Why are you making this about you? Yeah, I've been there. I mean, apparently I just needed a big old slap across the face, which I got a couple times, which was good. So yeah. What would you say? Cause, you know, social media is huge, right? And I said we're not going to train on it because I feel like this group is
there's so much training in here.
So much training.
Yeah, there's so much good stuff.
But I do feel like for duplication, there is something to be said about social media. I do feel like everybody's so worried about the number of views or the number of shares or the number of likes. And we didn't even talk about this, so I'm just kind of bringing it up. But you said you like banter back and forth. So you said you liked a conversation. But I feel like people are so focused on all of that they're missing like the whole building connections and relationship part of social media, which is the same thing you do in network marketing anyway, is the relationships. What do you feel like is like that number one mistake that people are making on social media with building relationships the wrong way? What, do you feel like there's anything that people can like totally stay away from that they might be doing that you see that drives you nuts?
Yeah, I think that people try to, it's funny because, I mean, the way that we present on social media, the way that we build relationships, it should be exactly the same if we didn't have social media. And I think people they think that there's a disconnect, like it's not the same. Yeah. So imagine if like whatever you're posting on social media, you were actually doing that live to somebody. Like, that's so weird.
That's funny.
Right? So think about some of those posts we've done and you probably would go, oh my God, I would have never posted that. I would have never done that, right? Because it's not even relationship building at all. Right?
That's so funny.
So I think, you know, that's a thing. Like, if anybody kind of has an aha moment, I think a lot of people get so caught up in like, what do I post, right? How do I post the exact? And I'm like, guys, like, how would you build a friendship with somebody? Like, if you were getting to know someone, right? And I think that's a piece too, where it's like, I really believe this. My whole life is this. It's like every person that I meet, and I've said this on my lives. You probably haven't heard me talk about it before, but I really believe that every person that I meet in my life enriches my life one way or another. And I hope to God that every person that gets to meet me feels the same way. And so my whole thing every day is just how can I pour into people? Is kind of, I don't know if that sounds silly, but like that's really how I live, because it's like, well, I mean, I don't mean to be morbid. What if I don't see that person ever again?
True.
You know what I mean? What if I don't? I mean, so it's like, I mean, John Maxwell taught me, he's like, guys, he's like, every day you got to somehow pour value into people, no matter what. He's like, I talked to the person that, the lady that came and serviced my room. I made sure I loved on her. I walked by the hallway and loved on this guy. And you know what I mean? So it's like, it's just making an effort just to go out of your way, to serve people. And so I think people get so caught up in that. And I think too, with the likes and the comments and a lot of that stuff, I mean, we all like to feel loved. You know what I mean? We like that. Everyone likes that, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard when you're just getting started on social media and you're learning these great skills from so many great people that, they forget again, they don't know their backstory, right? So I don't know, like when you first had your first post, what you posted. I mean, I look back at some of my first posts and I would post things like, oh my God, I'm eating broccoli. This is so good. I mean, my God, who posts that? You know what I mean? And there was one person that liked it. It was my mom,
Yeah.
Like, my God, like,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
And now it's different. Like, you just learn it, right? It's just like learning anything else. And so, just understanding that it's just like all the skills that we learn in the business, you just have to do it and do it over and over and over and over and over again. And I will tell you too, I don't believe it's in the, hey, if you got 3,000 views, then you're a winner. And if you have 10, you're not. I mean, my God, if you could have a rock star that watches you on that, on one of those 10, you're one of those 10 viewers, right? So it's like, for me, I don't care about that, but I can say that, but it's also, it's easy for me to say, but it's hard for other people like not to feel that way.
Yeah.
Right. Because it is. I mean, it just is. And I will tell you too, I mean, I feel strongly about this. I mean, if there's people that are in your feed that when you see it, you have feelings of jealousy, envy, you start comparing yourself, you start criticizing yourself, like you have any kind of weird feelings, well, guess what, guys? You need to unfollow that crap. Mm-hmm. Like it's not serving you as a person, right? To step into your best self. All of a sudden you freeze up and you start reevaluating, can I do a live? Oh my gosh, does this post matter? Will anyone even care? So it's like you have the ability to control that feed of just like personal development, like what are you putting into your brain every day? It's the same thing with the social media stuff. So I will tell you, there are some people that I'm still friends with, but I do not follow them.
Same.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I just don't. And I mean, I don't know if that can be any more real than that, but I mean, it's not good for me.
Yeah.
It's just not good for me,
I mean, it's hard, right? Because I feel like it's hard, but it's not, but it is. It's you have to, just the same way you would surround yourself with people that pick you up is the same on social media. Social media is social media. It's a part of it's not real life, and people can portray something completely different than what their real life is, right? I mean, you got to really be careful on social media. So as how I look at it is exactly how you said, create that value, like make an impact, speak from your true self, right? Obviously without negativity, but just like John Maxwell said, leaving that impact wherever you go, sparkling glitter, wherever you go, whatever all these sayings are. And eventually the people that are like you will come to you. They'll be attracted to you. And more than just on social media, out there in the real world, when you're out there having real conversations with real people, it all just will mesh. It'll all make sense. It'll all come together. And oh gosh, I just love that. Like serving people. That's the shift that I had after 2.5 years of not having success. It wasn't about me anymore. right? It became about what can I do different? How can I be different? So I'm so grateful for that. Well, Sarah, here's my last question for you. And it's, you know, if you could go back to like,
oh gosh,
right? It's like that question. I mean, let me just tell you what I would say. But if you could go back, you know, into that first 2 years, because I feel like, yes, the first year, but I feel like the first 2 years for me was like the moment of, it didn't matter until I made changes in myself. I wasn't going to be successful financially, right? Maybe other successes. I had little successes, you know, on that journey. But if you could go back in the first 2 years, like, is there anything that you would have changed or done different in your business that you felt like could have helped you have maybe faster success?
I would have worked harder on me. I think I was a little bit stubborn, you know. I was kind of, we talk, you know, I know we talk a lot about personal development. I mean, I was hammered personal development from so long. I was like, why do I need to personally develop myself? You know what I mean? Like, I'm cool how I am. I was a nanny, mind you, at 21, right? I still thought I knew it all. My God. What a rude awakening I had. But, you know, I don't know if you've ever heard like the phrase they say, you recruit who you are, not what you want. That's why I couldn't recruit for 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I thought I was trying to recruit these people, but I was really like, I couldn't, I was like trying to recruit myself. It was so bad, you know? And I just, you know, Jim Rohn talks about becoming attractive in the business, right? Not physically, but the other way, right? And it's just that growing. And I think, you know, if I would have really focused on chasing growth versus chasing results, it would have been way different. So you know, now for me, I chase growth like crazy. Like I am like breathless when it comes to personal developments, right? And now I can tell when I go through growth spurts now. I mean, I literally can feel it where it's like I go from, you know, baby steps in personal like growth, like now like quantum leaps, like literally. And so I worked really hard on intentionally growing. You know, like I really am serious about like 2018. I have a full on like growth plan, like Sarah's Zolecki growth plan. How am I going to grow this year? Like if I ask all of you guys on here, how are you going to grow this year? I want you to show me your strategy. Could you do that? Like, what does that look like? Right. And so I am very intentional and on purpose with that growing because I know that if I'm growing and I'm, you know, really working on becoming the best version of myself, I'm way more attractive, which means I'm going to bring in much higher caliber people. I mean, the people that I can bring in now into my business are 10 times higher caliber in so many different areas, right? Than 15 years ago, because I've worked so hard on me.
Yeah.
That's what I would say is I would have chased it way harder, and I would have done, you know, just I would have worked on the growth way more than the results.
I love that so much. It's so true. It's like those are the things that we didn't get in the beginning. And I don't think it's funny because my whole upline of my first company was all men too. So it's so funny how similar our stories are. It's so crazy. But I think hearing it differently from them, it wasn't about personal development. It was always about the sale. And it wasn't their fault. It's just that's their personalities, right? So having that shift in finally seeing the personal development and what was needed with that's, I mean, when you talk to 6 and 7 figure earners, it's all the same thing. It's about that aha moment of change in their personal development, in their growth as humans. So I want to challenge every single one of you. Sarah has a growth plan for 2018 personally, because she knows that if she grows and has another leap of growth, it's going to attract a whole different caliber of people into her business yet again, which, I mean, hello, she's already got a massive organization. So I want to challenge each and every one of you, like, do you have a growth plan for 2018 personally? Like, personally. And I have one, but only for 6 months. So I gotta get the rest of my 6 months up and running. You've now challenged me to get the end of my year planned out. But Sarah, is there anything else that you want to share with everybody before we jump off? I know you've got your munchkins and your husband, and you've taken time out to be here with us. I'm so grateful.
No, I think for those of you that have been in the business 5 years or less, you need to be encouraged to know that you're in the right place. You know, you're gonna take arrows, and it's just part of the deal. And you're gonna go through ebbs and flows, and you're gonna have people that come in your business. You're gonna have people that leave your business. You're gonna have best friends of yours that join and they do great, and all of a sudden they quit. I mean, it's part of the process of our business, and it's not easy, especially girls that are on. It's a little bit, we're a lot more emotional, so it's harder when things like that happen, but also just understanding like this is a business. And, you know, I look at, you know, for me, instead of beating myself up as far as if I wasn't at a certain rank, if I wasn't selling a certain amount every month, you know, I really looked at myself as, okay, so Sarah, there's a reason that you're not at that next rank yet. Like, let's figure out and learn from where you're at right now to what it needs to be. Like, there could be one little tweak that you need to do. And I also learned not to beat myself up. Like, there was times that, you know, there was a certain rank I was trying to hit for like a year straight. Even Tony and I, even the last like 4 years, there was, you know, we've been with, you know, with our company, but like the first 2 years, like there was a couple of ranks that every month we were trying to hit for like 7 months. And we're like, man, and, you know, we didn't get discouraged by it because we really took on the philosophy of, hey, you know what, we're not ready for that rank yet.
Yes.
Like there's something that we haven't learned yet. There's something that we haven't experienced yet that is going to make us ready for that rank versus the I suck, why can't I get there? How come I'm not at this rank, right? It was a totally different perspective. And if you can go in with that perspective, you're not going to have to worry about all these like managing your disappointments all the time and all of that, right? And your ebbs and flows and having to pick yourself up or, you know, all these different emotions if you go in with that perspective. And so that's how that has really helped us just stay steady when we haven't maybe hit our rank or hit our goal. And I think the reality is too, if you're a visionary, you're probably never going to hit your goal.
Exactly.
Like, that's the deal.
Yes. Yes.
Right? That's the deal. So I would tell yourself, go easy on yourself, work your butt off in the business, but, you know, have a lot of fun and just, you know, your whole thing is, again, am I getting better every day? If the answer is yes, cut yourself some slack and just to keep on going and be in the game long enough to find people like Maria, right? Find people like Rob, find people like so many other leaders, you know, step into your business, but it's being in the business for the long haul, right? And that's the biggest thing is, you know, I'm just not a quitter. So, I mean, I think I finally got success because I just didn't quit.
That's exactly what it is. Sarah, I'm so grateful for you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on today. How fun was this? So,
oh my gosh, so fun. I mean, I got notes. I mean, seriously, the whole recruit in bunches, I love that. That is so freaking cute. I love that. And it's so true. So thank you guys for being on. Show Sarah some love by giving her thanks and saying thank you to her. If you have questions, just drop it in the feed and she will get back to you or I'll get back to you. We're grateful for you guys. And Rob, we love you. Thank you for this group.
Big time.
Good night, guys.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Take care.
Bye.